It is now 6:30 p.m. and of July 5th, and the Select Board meeting of the Town of Newfane is now in session. It may be noted that two of our members, Gloria Cristelli and Chris Brook, are absent today. Okay, we have a relatively short agenda, so hopefully we can move fairly quickly through it. The first is the approval of the minutes. The first minutes that I have in front of me is June 21st. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Seconded.
Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Second set of minutes are from the special meeting of June 28th. A motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the minutes?
Aye.
Minutes are passed as read. Next item of business is the road foreman's report. Todd?
Well, the roads are in good shape. We've been out grading the roads. We've been doing some ditch work with the grader, and we spent quite a bit of time up on Cushion Flats Road. There's a big beaver culvert up there that the header was falling over, so we dug that all out and started over with it. Should last for quite a while. The backhoe's been out cleaning ditches and culverts, and the crew's been out doing some brush cutting at intersections around the signs. The arch bridge was pretty bad, and up by Grout Road, couldn't even see the stop sign up there.
Thank
As
you.
far as equipment goes, Nortrack's been down and worked on the grader for a day. The engine has a skip in it. It was overheating, but they put an ejector in it and reset the computer, and it's a little bit better. It's not overheating, but it's still skipping a little bit.
What does that mean, skipping?
It's not running on all 6 cylinders. It's running on all 5. They think there's a wiring issue somewhere in the computer, but they don't know where. So they may have to come back down again. Cat was down again, finally got the stabilizer fixed on the backhoe. Stratton Hill slide, Shannon sent a letter out to the landowners, but we have not heard back from them yet, so we can't go any further with that. Although John Alexander would like us to move on that fairly soon.
Yeah, we would like to move it before it's
Was there a
worse.
like?
Well, let's let you finish your report and then we'll discuss.
Grimes Hill, Lane Construction's paving Grimes Hill. They've got the shim coat down. The overlay should be done tomorrow. That road should be all done by tomorrow. The dead trees that we talked about the other day, I called Kevin Schrader. As soon as he gets, so he's not quite so busy, he's going to call us to come down and cut those trees. And we just have received another 4,000 gallons of chloride because the roads are so dusty.
What does the chloride do for the roads?
It keeps the dust down, but it also makes the road bind up, kind of seals it up. You don't lose so much what they call fines that way by not having the dust blow off constantly.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the road foreman's report as read?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that's always been the road foreman's and road commissioners work together.
Okay.
Why is it changed?
I don't know. I thought we're doing what we've been doing.
That's the way it's been done.
You want it? Well, whatever.
I don't care how you do it.
I don't
But
care.
I was curious why.
I didn't change it. I just read aloud what I've got in front of me.
Well, it says road foreman's road
It's
commissioner.
our function.
All right,
That's
all
fine.
cool.
It's fine. It's fine if it's from both of you. That's totally fine with me. All right, let me stand corrected. Do I have a motion to approve the road foreman / road commissioner's report as read?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. In discussion, just I would like to know what on the Stratton Hill side, when did we send the letter out, Shannon or Pat? Do you know?
Early this week.
So it was just this
Yes.
week, because obviously we don't want to wait so long that we have bigger problems.
Right.
Okay, so let's just track it carefully, that we be sure that we don't hear back early next week. We got to really pursue this actively to get to that landowner.
So do we say something like, I mean, so you'll be in contact with
Well, it's not
Shannon
really,
and
it's
Tricia
not really
about-
Todd, it's more the assistant to the select board that we need to. So
So
Pat, between you and Shannon, can you make sure we make early next week, if we haven't heard from them, that we get to the landowner so that we find out that we can get on there.
Okay.
Chris, go ahead.
Who is the landowner on that?
It's one of the Baileys.
Okay, all right. I know,
That's what Dora said anyways.
okay, well, that's all, no, that's
Okay.
all right, because I know a landowner that owns land
Yeah,
right
they said it's
there,
pretty
but-
close to McDonald's, but.
Yeah, that's what I,
McDonald's or whatever
that's,
it is. But she said it was Bailey's.
yeah, all right, no problem.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're voting on approving the road foreman road commissioners report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item of business is a right-of-way permit for the Richard Foy. This is the issue where there was a fence put up and the person was given a zoning permit, but that doesn't deal with the issue of right-of-way. And so this is the permit for the right, that this fence is literally in the right-of-way. So the question is, do we approve that? Any discussion on that point?
You seen his fence? I don't have any problem with it except that, because it's up on top of the stone wall. But I think that should say there that the town's not responsible for snow removal.
Yeah, that's all I say, no, that's,
Now, can we just simply add that in approving this? What do we need to do
Yeah.
to,
Is there a
let's see.
second sheet on there? Or is that just the application?
There is a
What I
second.
do is fill out an approval to proceed, and in that I'll put conditions.
Okay, great. So
That
we
is only conditions.
So that we would
Not
direct you to do
responsible.
that, okay? Unless there's objection, we don't need a motion, so, great. So that concludes that piece of business. The next is the Stratton Hill roadside, but we did discuss it in the road foreman's report. Is there anything further on that that we need to talk about? It's on the agenda as a separate item. It's really what you covered in your road foreman's and road commissioner's report, okay? Ms. Law?
I was just going to ask, under road business, what we were talking about with the paving last week. Was there any further development?
Yeah, I talked to them for quite a while. We don't have any more money for the match. We have to go up with $16,200 for a match. We didn't have that. So I said to them, if we wait till next year, are we gonna be on the top of the list, or are we gonna get passed over or what? And they said, no, it doesn't be on top of the list. So I felt it was better to wait till next year, put our $110,000 in with $162,000.
So that money would still be there?
Well, they'll give it to us next year.
Oh, okay.
Because I said to them, if we're gonna lose it, then we're gonna have to do something different.
Yeah.
And they said they definitely wouldn't lose it. He said you could take it now, but you still have to have the match. And you don't have to do any, you have up to 2 years to use it, but still you can give
It's
it.
more getting the 16,000 would
Right.
require a change. I'm pursuing it with the state auditors to find out if we could shift, so when we do our budget next year, we can move paving into the capital budget rather than,
Right.
so that would probably make life a little easier.
But they guarantee me that we'll be on the top of the list next year. So
Yeah.
we don't really lose it. We'll just use it next year.
Okay. There are no scheduled members of the public. Are there any unscheduled members of the
Yep.
public who would
I
like
got a
to?
couple things.
Okay,
I'm
Christopher.
interested in. You just hired a new administrative assistant.
Mhm.
Now, I'm pretty concerned because I sat on that board for a while, and I saw how there was micromanaging done from the other side of the wall. And I hope this person that's been hired is able to do her job and enjoy her job and talk to the people she's supposed to talk to and not constantly be harassed like has gone on previously. And I'm very concerned about that person because I know what's been going on. I sat on the board for several years, and I know.
Yeah.
And that is it very concerns me.
Would anyone else on the board like to speak to that issue? I will speak to it just to the extent that, and I would say this to you, Pat, you work for the board, the whole board, primarily, you and I, as we've discussed in the interviewing process, you and I will be in almost, not constant contact, but regular contact. And Todd, as road foreman, will be in regular contact with you. Christopher, as road commissioner, will, and other officials of the town will. But in terms of supervision, no one else should be supervising you. So if you are getting input from anyone around saying this is how you should be doing your job, or that's how you're doing your job, I would say bring it back to the board and say, let's talk about it, because it is not appropriate.
Okay.
And we really want you to be able to function and be comfortable in your position and not feel like you're getting direction from, people. This is a very open space, and it includes really the space next door, and that can be difficult, and we don't want it to be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
I think I'd also add that, the term micromanaging has been, is used, but I think that there's also, I think that the people here try and also be very helpful, and, there are many opinions out there.
Mm-hmm. And it really is, some onus ultimately, Pat, falls on you to communicate where you feel that line is between, this is just helping me to know what's going on, and this is really making it hard for me to do my job.
And we also talked about having the, doing something like an evaluation,
Yeah.
where after 3 months, that gives you an opportunity to give us feedback.
Okay.
So
That's a
we're
very,
really open to it.
very important point.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Christopher, you had said there were a couple of things. Is there something else you want?
Yeah, another thing that's been brought to my attention, which I haven't paid much attention to, but the state of Vermont has two people that have the same job, a select person and a selectman. A select person and town clerk, excuse me, I worded that wrong. I'm a little bit concerned about, you have meetings during the day, you do your business like you're supposed to do, and everybody does this. The town clerk is at these meetings doing this stuff. Who's running the office? Is she double dipping or not? I'm not accusing her of it now. Get that straight. But something's not right with that.
Do you want to respond or not?
I know that there have been other times when well, first of all, there are assistants in there also working, and I think that she's got pretty good coverage.
Yeah.
But I guess it does feel a little accusatory, and I'm having a little difficulty with this. But I think that it's not up to us to supervise the town clerk, and
Right.
and I think that I guess I would say that I do a lot of work with Gloria on other projects besides the select board, or not just one in particular, helping families with the flood, and I do know that she takes personal time for sometimes when she's working, but I believe we've really only had one meeting during the daytime hours since I've been on the board. So
I would just say, as far as I know, the office has always been adequately covered. Again, it is the voters who choose. The same applies to having a road foreman who is an employee of the town on the select board. The voters vote, and they have elected Todd, and they've elected Gloria. That is their decision. And as far as meetings, both the road foreman and the town clerk have been here during times when our quote normal work time, and obviously they have to then make the time up just like anyone else. Priscilla's got her job and she's got to take time away from it, and she'll have to do it when, you know, and so anyway, but thank you for your input.
No, I've been on both sides of the bench. I understand what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other?
That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Are there any other unscheduled members of the public?
I guess we are. We're not on this.
Yeah, you forget it, Steve. We were not listening to you. We're going to take an executive.
Well, I have a very complex
Go ahead, Steve.
issue. I have a few photographs. Pictures worth
Pictures?
1,000 words. Right there.
Pictures. We don't usually get pictures.
Myra and I are here on behalf of the Williamsville Hall Committee. So, and what we would like to do, as you know, we're running a movie series, which so far this year has been well attended. At 35 people the first showing, 25 people last week. We have a movie scheduled for tomorrow. And what happens is we have this equipment, and we have the projector, an amplifier, and a DVD player, and speakers. And each time we show a movie, we have to bring it all in because it's too expensive to just leave it to haul and take it, you know, hook it up, and then at the end take it apart. What we're hoping to do with this, what we'd like to do is build a closet in this space, which is pretty much unused space next to the elevator, and do a nice job, you know, sheetrock it, I'd like to get a wooden door, and match the trim to fit the building, so that we can put the, especially the projector, the amplifier, and the player on a cart, and we could just, you know, have them all hooked up and leave them hooked up together, and just put the cart in this closet and lock the door and leave it. It also would be available to store anything else that needs to be in a more secure spot. So the hall committee would like to build this closet with your permission, with our funds, and just go ahead with it. So that's why we're here tonight.
Do you have an idea of the cost?
No, actually, I haven't got to. I hope it wouldn't be more than, you know, $300 or $400.
All right. Does anyone on the board?
Hopefully, we can also get volunteer labor.
Anyone on the board have something to say on the subject?
I'll just let them do it as long as it looks pretty much like what's there now.
Yeah.
Right now, you've got a
No, but I mean,
sheet hanging.
kind of keep it looking
Yeah,
like the
right.
hall
We
is
would
now.
paint it the same color and use
Right.
the same
Yeah.
kind of trim, because we
Make it
do
look
like that
good.
better.
Okay.
A second.
Second.
We
Yeah.
have been
All right.
caring.
Just
for
in
that
terms of
building.
then there is a motion to do this, and though we do need an actual price, you know,
Well,
right?
they're gonna use their funds this
There,
year.
so, yeah.
It'll be more than $75.
Okay, all right. But, yeah, just make it really secure. I would hate to see that stuff walk
Well,
away.
they have their own fund that Gloria takes, or that, yeah,
Well, we did, we
treasurer takes care of.
yeah, but we funded it, right?
No, that, he said that they're using the money that they raised.
Are you using the money you raised or raising money? Oh, so it's actually literally your funds. Okay, all right, great. Well, I can't see why, I think Todd's point is good, and all those in favor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay, the motion is passed. Thank you very much, Dick. And it's great that they're, just to say, it's great that there are movies there and people have a place to go and enjoy it. It's a very positive thing, very positive thing. Okay, terrific. Any other unscheduled members of the public? Moving right along, the next,
I'll leave.
You want that photograph for records or something?
What did I say wrong?
You're welcome to have it.
yeah, that's a pretty good picture.
She could frame it.
The next item of business is setting the tax rate for next year, and the calculations have been prepared for us. The tax rate, I am told, is identical to the tax rate last year, which I think is a nice piece of work by last year's board, although I guess since I was on, I sort of shouldn't say that, but it is positive that we're able to keep it flat. There's a slight increase apparently in the education tax, but not a huge one. So the tax rate would be 0.3732. That's cents on the dollar on the assessed value. So the calculations are in and solid, and so we will sign this. I don't know, do we need a motion that we will, so
Set the
let's,
tax rate, yes.
so we now, I need to hear a motion to set the tax rate at 0.3732 cents, or I don't know how to say it, 0.372, 0.3732 dollars
So
for
moved.
not the fiscal year 2013.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The tax rate is set. We will sign this when we do our pay orders, etc.
Did you say fiscal year?
Fiscal year
Okay.
2013. The next issue is the audit of 2013. Board had asked Chris Brook to talk to our accounting firm, Sullivan and Powers. The board has previously expressed its frustration with getting the audits done so late that that we don't have a set of audited books on which to do the budget, and we're really hoping to improve that. Although we also recognize we're in a tricky time because all the towns have to do audits. Not every town does an audit every year, but this year with the flood damage, many more towns are required to, so there's competition for auditors. But nevertheless, Chris did talk to them. They had a very positive interaction with them, and she says, and I'll just read what she said. She contacted them, she spoke with Fred Duplessis, CPA, and he indicated that a Rick Brigham usually handles our account. Fred recommended that the town contact them as soon as possible to set up a time for the review of records. Currently, Sullivan and Powers is scheduling for late October through November in terms of doing the work. If we are not actually ready for the audit at the scheduled time, we should still set it up and then contact and push forward the dates. But the ideal would be for us to be ready and for them to be ready. Chris came out of saying she believed that Maureen is really the person who's supposed to contact them. Now, I don't know from that.
That's what they told her. when
That's
she
what they told us,
contacted
since
them.
she would need to have the year closed and records with the records for viewing. But we would like that to happen as soon as possible. As indicated in our conversation, Mr. Duplessis also discussed the recommendation contained in the audit report this year, particularly in terms of lack of segregation of duties and bank reconciliations not done by a separate individual. This is just, they're repeating what they've said to us before. Discussion.
It seems like maybe Maureen is a person for us to convey our interest in having this, the year closed and that information passed on to them as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, they've said.
Now, Maureen is out on sick leave, I believe, until July 8th. So I think she's supposed to come back the beginning of next week.
She's out till July 23rd.
July 23rd? Is that a change, Shannon?
No?
No, that's what it's always been? So we do have that limitation that she is not around until the 23rd for Shannon's recollecting on it. So I don't know that, I just hate to miss it. I would like to get on their docket as soon as possible, and even if we have to push it back.
I mean, it was made pretty clear, it was a town meeting, that people were pretty disgusted with the way things were going with that audit. Because we didn't even have it done for town meeting.
Right. And I think that's the second year in a row that was true. So I would like to ask Chris to contact them again to say, put us on the docket. Our treasurer is out, but we will do everything possible to get.
Is that something Elaine could do for us? Can I get started on?
I know that the first thing that Chris said was when she spoke to them, they wanted to talk to Marie.
Well, it
But-
could be Elaine. That's
Yeah.
she's.
One thing that I'm wondering is, Shannon,
Yeah.
you said, I mean, would you think that maybe Maureen would be open to talking with us, like just through email or anything?
I don't see why not.
I
mean,
know
Shannon
the
just
one
mentioned-
time I contacted her, I did get back an automated, I'm not available, period.
Well, how about, could you ask her? Because you've been in contact with her.
Yeah, if somebody will send me an email that they want to go to her, I will forward it to her personal email address. She
Okay.
doesn't want it out there.
I will do
I
that.
can
All right.
forward it to
I
her
will
personal-
send you an email and you can forward it to
Okay.
her.
One of the things you might email her is, can Elaine get started on this right off while she's
Yep.
gone?
So usually what happens is once we get put on the schedule for the auditors, they'll send us a list, like a checklist of what we need to pull together. Some of that is for me and some of it is not. And so I'm happy to help Pat get our part together.
That'd be great. Another good reason to get it going.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's see if we can do that. That's pretty high priority because it really is a sort of frustration for the town.
And also at the same time, when switching over from Shannon to Pat,
Mhm.
maybe we can figure out a little bit more, is it?
The segregation of
Yeah.
duties.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should put that on the agenda for, probably for a future meeting, because that they brought it up in the conversation with Chris.
Yeah.
You know, it's really
Right.
kind of number one
Yeah.
in probably every time you go to a VLCT thing. That's the number one concern, is that duties aren't adequately segregated. Okay, so let's do that.
So you're gonna
Pat,
send her an email?
I would like that to be here for that discussion. I will not be here next meeting, so if we could have that in the first meeting in August, if you could put that on the agenda for the first meeting in August
Okay.
for segregation of duties.
So is it okay we're calling you Pat?
Yes, please.
Oh,
do.
okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's all said. It did tickle something in my mind that I hope I have a copy of here, but we'll go on. Okay, so that covers that topic.
John,
Yes.
may I squeeze in for unscheduled members?
Oh,
I didn't realize.
Yes, I'm not leaving that yet.
Oh, I
Hold
thought
on,
you
hold
had
on,
already
hold on,
moved ahead.
hold on.
Okay.
That, I do want to just make I have the one note really is just again to make, I will not be here I will not be in this country from the 19th to August 1st. So just,
July 19th.
In order?
what did you say, Gunther?
Are your papers in order?
My papers are not in order. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. So you guys. Yes, for any other new business that can be brought up at this time, or well, we're going to old business. But since you're a member of the public, we do tend to yield to members of the public. So go ahead.
This will be great. Last time I was here, you suggested that I talk to the sheriff about the plan for closing the road, and I did speak with him, and he said they would be glad to provide that service for us, free of charge, in spirit of what we're doing it for. He suggested we don't that we close Dover Road between Parish Hill and Baker Brook, start at the rubble pile, which will make it simpler. Start there, go to the Williamsville Hall, and they will take care of the traffic control with the closure and the one-way traffic, or however they need to do it. He said, we talked over the phone, he said send me an email with the specifics, which I did, and he said we'll stay in touch, and so as far as I
great.
get from him, we're okay.
Great.
So, So can I say that we have the town's approval now to go ahead and plan the parade for August 26th at noon?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. Another good thing.
Yeah.
A little parade.
We're
Now,
not so
are there any, and there's no other, going on to old business. I'm asked, though the treasurer's answers are on the agenda, I'm suggesting we postpone this partially because Chris was one of the main people who really wanted to understand it, and she is not here, so I will give I'm the only one who has a copy of what Maureen gave us. I will give that to Pat and Shannon, ask them to kind of scan it or whatever and get it so everybody has a copy.
And what is it?
These are Maureen's answers to our questions. We had some questions for Maureen,
I know.
and we have some additional
I do.
questions, by the
I
way.
have more.
All right,
Yeah.
yes.
So
So
it
this
is
is the
this.
first set.
I just wanted to check. Is it that?
Oh, yeah, it is that. So you have a copy?
Yeah. I've had this.
Well, I was under the impression I had the only copy, which is obviously not true.
Not
Todd,
true.
have you ever seen a copy?
Yeah.
Well,
We've got
Pat,
this
it
in-
does appear we're just, I
Maybe.
don't know if Gloria has a copy. Todd does
I
not
might
have a
made
copy.
copies once
Yeah.
before.
You did, so, because I have a copy and Priscilla does have a
Todd
copy.
just didn't want to read it.
It's always that.
It's the harsh truth.
Well, if you're not interested, you can communicate to Shannon or Pat whether you want a copy of this, because it's a lot of pages and I don't, apart from killing trees, I don't want to kill our administrative
Part of
assistant.
it may all be stuff that
Run this.
Oh, I get a copy already.
Okay. Okay, so we should put that off to the next meeting. It is totally fine with me that it be in my absence. I don't have a problem with that. So that could be put off to next meeting's agenda. Okay, and you know what, Todd, you could take my copy if you give it, I'd like it back at the end just to have a record, but if you'd like it, and just stick it in my box when you're done with it. Okay.
Can I just,
Yes.
I mean, in preparation for this,
Uh-huh.
I did go over a lot of this
Uh-huh.
and just came up with so many more questions.
Okay, well, we need to keep, I want to do the first set. We have a second set already, and now we'll add a third set of questions.
Right, but
Yeah.
maybe we could get together with Maureen and just get through it.
After the
That's so quickly.
23rd. Well, Maureen really prefers to have questions spelled out to her in advance. She's always asked me for that. She asked Dennis before, and she asked me for that. She does, she prefers not to come to a select board meeting and have to just answer them on the fly. She'd rather have them spelled out.
Okay.
And, as people are aware, the treasurer does not report to us. She's completely independent, so we can't actually tell her how to work with us.
But she has a responsibility
To
interact with you.
absolutely.
She may be elected, but you can still exercise control over her, how she does it and what she does on a timely basis or otherwise. She's not that
Can I
independent.
exercise control over you, Gunther? That's
Absolutely.
the other question.
Go
Okay, could you
for it.
raise your hand and be recognized before you start yapping away? Okay, thank you, Gunther. You're right, we can continue to put some pressure on, but I'm just saying, in this case, it's us who's not quite dealing with what she's already given us before we go on to the next set. That's all I'm suggesting.
Okay, I mean, it just seems like this process is so, my comment is that we got this back on May 9th.
Right, but that's partially,
And
Yeah,
it's like we
that's
gave
my-
her questions
right.
in the beginning of April.
Yeah.
It's like, this is taking a long time.
well, when Maureen comes back, if you'd like to try to encourage her to just come to a meeting and talk with us, I would have no problem with that.
Okay.
We don't have an update on the hazard mitigation program, emergency watershed protection. I do have an update on the Lynch Bridge alternate project. And actually, I don't know if it's on here as an agenda item. Yes, it is. Okay, I will get to it when we get to it. In terms of Lynch Bridge alternate project, I spoke to our attorney. Okay, we have still not heard from the landowner. Now, one of the things I was discussing with him was, we would like to give him something of a deadline to say, get back to us by X date. But the question is, what are the teeth in that? What if you say it's a deadline and then it doesn't happen? Well, what happened? Essentially, we're not getting anything from him. So one of the questions was, and one of the necessities, if we are to go ahead with this, would be to discontinue the bridge, the maintenance of the road. So the question I was asking Rich Para was, what are the legalities of that? I've gotten advice from VLCT, but what are the likelihood that if it did go, let's say the landowner appealed and it went to Supreme Court, what would happen? Rich's conclusion was that we have a very, very solid case to say that we don't want to rebuild a road for one landowner is something, just as we look at it and say the municipality would be better served to have the money to do other things, the Supreme Court's going to look at it the same criteria we're looking at it. What's in the municipality's best interest? So his view was that we could put into a letter saying that if we don't hear from you in 14 days, we will begin proceeding in any case, or we will at least consider. I don't know if we'll go quite that far. So what I've asked Rich, because we've never really discussed amongst ourselves and the town whether we would go so far as to say we would discontinue the road even if the landowner would objected and said, well, I don't want to sell my property. We're trying to do it the right way in a sense and say, here's the assessed value of the, here's what we can give you and try to do it right. But if he doesn't even talk to us, we're our hands could be tied. So we would like at least him to enter into negotiations with us at the very least. So Rich will draft a letter, and he will have that letter ready for us for next meeting time. And then I will not be here, but you guys can decide what you're comfortable with or not comfortable with in the letter, and have him send a letter to the landowner with some kind of deadline on it saying, in 2 weeks, if we don't hear from you, this will happen. That's where it stands. Okay? But I would say to the board, we need to think, and to the town to some extent, we need to think, if he doesn't want to sell, do we want to go ahead and discontinue with that process? In any case, it's a weighty decision, and I just want to put it out there as something we have to think about.
Did we ever hear any further about the lien on the?
Well, no, I don't have any further information, but that doesn't really cut. In terms of the larger picture, it's a small piece. That's based on the renters, I believe, situation. I think we're talking a few $1,000s compared to much larger numbers that we're dealing with. But I don't have any further information.
Not hearing back from him.
I don't know. I really don't. I have no way to. I can't read his mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's what we're trying to do, is just get him involved in discussing it and let us know what he wishes.
Weren't you also going to ask Rich about your calling him or something like that?
No, I think. Well, I didn't. I don't know if I was. I really think it's more appropriate to send a letter. Yeah, you're right. I was, but I forgot. To be honest,
Is that letter
I forgot
certified mail?
That we certainly would send it. So
Did we send it for us in certified
yeah,
mail?
we did, right, Shannon? We sent the first certified mail.
No, I don't think we did on that one.
So we don't know if he's
Really?
got it or not.
Yeah.
I thought we decided we would send it certified mail.
We sent-
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll get a new letter. We'll send out a letter, and this one will, give them some advance. Now, the only concern, but we know we had a correct address on it, right, Shannon?
Oh, yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, so we have reason to believe he's received our
And
communication.
actually, his sister talked to one of the listers, so I know he got the letter.
Oh,
to
okay,
you about the
okay,
letters.
all right, so there's no question I don't want him to receive the second letter having not, but he has received the first.
Yeah.
And this would now come from a lawyer, it gives it a little more, and it would have a little more teeth, if you will, so, you know, if you don't do this, we do this.
Okay, so he's going to write the letter.
He's gonna write the letter for the
It's going to be at the
board's
next
approval
meeting.
at the
Okay.
next meeting. And I can just say, for the record, I'm in favor of this strategy. I think that we wanna get some closure on this issue one way or another.
And then we'd see it, approve it, and send it.
Right.
Okay.
And alter it if you need to. I haven't seen the actual letter, so I'm not worrying about minor details. If you guys decide this
Is there
wording's
any
better
way
than that
we
word.
could get or you would see a copy beforehand?
It's not, I don't feel the necessity, to be honest
Okay.
with you. I don't. I trust you guys to, you know, you're gonna get, you know, just if you wanna
Well,
see
just if
anybody's
you've
out.
spoken to him.
I know, but you heard now really the substance of that communication,
Okay.
okay? The next is, we don't have, well, do we have any, here it says no update on town office improvements. Do you want to bring that forth,
Oh.
Priscilla?
Yeah.
At least advise us of what's
Yes.
happening.
Let's see. Well, I did print these up. Just so you can see what we were talking about. This is, Shannon met with David Cotton, who came and measured the building and drew it up and then drew these plans. And I really haven't looked at it myself
Mm-hmm.
since then. So, you know, with the idea of having offices closed off with doors where each of the different workers
Mm-hmm.
would have privacy. So that's that.
So this is basically, the update is, here's an initial shot of what it might look like.
Yeah.
And then I think this is something we would really kind of want the whole board to be present on, a full discussion of what should happen to the offices here. But this is, and it's good to have it's great to have a starting point like this.
The second thing is that Chad Farnham of Farnham Insulation came in and met with Gloria and I, and has been, he came back and he brought another worker with him, and they went down to the basement and they photographed and did a whole bunch of things and basically did an audit, I believe, and which they sent to me, but I cannot get the thing open. And I thought, I just sent him a request today to ask him to send it in a different format.
Okay.
I forgot to do that.
Okay, but you can report more
But,
fully.
so I think he seems to have a pretty good idea, as Gloria mentioned at the last meeting, I think, of being able to do something without jacking the building, which would be really, really great. So
Great.
just trying to move forward on some levels here. Maybe what I can do is when I do get that, I'll send it to you and you can send it out to the rest of the board.
Well, you can, or send it to Shannon and Pat. Don't have to send it to.
True.
Doesn't have to be to me.
I think of you as the disseminator.
Well, if I get stuff, I disseminate it, but doesn't have to come.
Right,
It
okay.
can go through the other route.
Okay.
Great, that's excellent,
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
The water in the basement, the water problem.
Yeah.
Frank Saponsky drove by my road, on my road, and I was out, and he was saying something that somewhere around here there was a problem like it, and there is a system of insulation that can be put down, which will leave the water down and the dry up forever.
Well, if you want to come by the office sometime, I'll show you. Chad's concept is to cover up the whatever, that cistern or receptacle, whatever it is, and to keep the humidity
Right.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to even try to explain it any further, but it sounds like it's a similar line of thinking. So,
If it exists, we
yeah.
will find it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is definitely something we've been batting around for a long time without getting a whole lot of progress on.
There is money in the budget.
There's $20,000 for capital improvements in this building.
And then there's also some insurance money that came in from.
Yes, and
flood.
there's some additional, that's right, that's correct.
Good to know how much all of
I
this is.
don't remember the latter figure, it's not a huge number,
It's
but,
like $3,000.
yeah, that's,
Uh-huh.
that's roughly what was in my head.
Okay,
So you've got about, we've got about $23,000 to,
okay.
without more complicated things such as attaching it to this kind of alternate project stuff.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. The next topic, the comparative salary and wage analysis, is no update. On the 100 Brook easement, now, this is just a statement. I did speak with our attorney on getting that to the letter to Maureen, and he says he will have it by next week. So he will have that easement, the easement written up for next week. So Shannon, if you could contact Maureen and tell her that it really, it isn't just, we aren't just saying that it's at the lawyer. The one item that he needs is he needs a copy of the letter we sent to her, what our proposal was.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing he needs is the whatever drawings we have of what we're talking about in terms of where the easement is. And I know we talked about that we don't have the exact thing from SVE, but we do know the rough area. So if we could get him whatever we've got, that would help him complete the process.
Okay.
Okay? Now the only thing I don't know, I do want to bring to the board its attention that Maureen has raised the possibility of purchasing from her perspective, and I don't know who else's perspective, that she did, we talked about this a little bit, but we didn't really go into it in detail, that they would be, that she and those around would be happy with the temporary bridge becoming the permanent bridge. I don't really know anything about what the issues are in such a thing.
You have to get a hold of ALT probably.
Do they do that?
What's that?
Sell the temporary bridge?
Well, sure, we can buy it from maybe there. They told us that when we got the bridge. If we wanted to buy it, we could. It's just, I don't know when Dan had to put the abutments in, whether that's up to state standard or not. Whether it has the wing walls like it's supposed to have, whether the riprap's where it's supposed to be. If that's not there, then we better put a new bridge in.
Yeah, it would seem unlikely that a temporary bridge
I don't
would,
think it's-
otherwise you just
Right.
call it a permanent bridge. Why,
Right.
So I don't believe that's an option, but I would like to know is there a way to find out for certain? Who would know?
I can get a hold of John,
Could you do that?
just see if he can point me in the right direction.
Okay.
Bridge inspectors or somebody.
Yeah.
Well, also, couldn't Dan tell you what?
Dan,
did?
not really. I mean, he could tell us what they
They
did,
asked
but it
for it?
doesn't mean that
Is up to
He
the-
couldn't tell necessarily whether
he could tell you whether he did it as a temporary thing. But we didn't have the state plans for, to make it a permanent structure when we did it.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed
When I
unlikely.
put it in there, it was for temporary,
Right.
until we get the new bridge in there.
Right.
And a lot of times when you do something temporary, you don't build it.
To
It
the
didn't
proper
make much
specifications.
sense for us at the time to build it as a permanent structure when you have to tear it all back out again to put the new one in.
Right.
So, what once the new one's there, you take the old one down. But I can check with them. I'll check with them.
So just to be aware and that they, you know, quote, "My neighbors and I can't see any reason to put up another bridge, but if you need signatures, I can do a petition." So, look, we really need to know the facts on it, because if people are comfortable with it, and then they don't quite see why, but I would imagine there's a big difference between what is okay as a temporary bridge and what's okay for a permanent structure. But if you could find that out, Todd, I would all appreciate it. Okay.
Can I just, why is the letter to Maureen taking so long?
It's not the letter, it's an easement, so it's a legal document. And so he needs information whether, I don't know the answer of why it took him so long, why he essentially sat on it for a long time. And I didn't think about it as a big deal till I realized she's not getting any money.
So
for it,
in the
so
letter,
it's-
will she be getting money retroactively?
She will get money retroactively. She gets money from, you know, I don't know if we made public the details of the actual easement.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did, so I don't wanna, but
Okay.
the
I just
bottom
wanted to,
line is,
you know, that she was
bottom
losing
line
out.
answer is yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, the next thing is, I think we should send I'm just adding this to the new business, I think we should send a thank you letter to George Friend. We got a very nice letter from the Humane Society about how he's been working with them, and he really helped us through the very difficult situation with I just think it would be nice to thank him for the service he's been doing to the town as the animal control officer.
So,
Okay. Second.
With any discussion? All is in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Along that line, is there something that, is he carrying out the condition?
Well, we did ask him to check in 10 days. I mean, we should, if you'd
Is there
like,
a
I will
way to-
follow up with him.
Okay.
Okay, so I will follow up with him. Shannon, I don't believe I have George's phone number or email.
Okay.
If you could get that for me.
Yes.
Okay. And Pat, I apologize for that. I'm always saying Shannon. I'm really seeing the two
gonna
of
be
you
used
working
to-
together, and you know.
No, that's quite all right,
you know.
because we're gonna try to compare notes.
Okay, cool. That concludes there is no unfinished business, and brings us to correspondence. And I don't see any correspondence.
There is none,
It was just that letter from Maureen, probably.
but you did.
Well, that was really not
you
strictly
did
speaking.
skip over this.
Well, no, it's because I've got to
Because
do
you're
that in
gonna do that at the
executive
end? Okay, I just wanted to make
session. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that closes what we need to do is we need to have an executive session.
And there's,
Uh,
Shannon doesn't have a report?
No, Shannon does not have a
No,
report.
I was gonna, but I don't.
She was a
Can we
bad.
introduce Pat to our faithful,
Oh, very
our
nice.
faithful,
Hi.
audience?
Yes,
This is Gunther Garvey.
nice to meet you, Gunther.
Just to say this, Patricia Grace,
Oh,
our
yes,
new,
Patricia Grace.
and she's working with Shannon for this month, so that there'd be a really nice, smooth transition.
And this is Ginny Jombrowski.
Hi, Jenny, nice to meet you.
And they are our, the two people that we can count on being here.
Great.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
she represents 750, I represent 750.
Is that it?
That's
Yeah.
great.
The
That's
gentleman
great.
in the back, Pat, is from the press. We don't talk to him.
he's from the Reformer, and it's Mike.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
And then this is Rich over here.
Hi, Rich.
BCTV.
Smile for the camera.
Hi, Rich.
And we're so excited about having Patricia here. And can I say it was a unanimous decision? We were all
Thank
really
you.
happy.
Can I,
Glad to
before
be
you
here.
go into executive session, bring something out of the left field. What kind of insurance does this town carry on the elected officials?
Sounds like I don't, hopefully not too much, because that would, then be, there might be,
Because-
I feel like a price in my head.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't
What do you
necessarily.
mean? You mean like,
I think the board has executive insurance, something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm
there
talking
is some.
about the elected officials who we don't have authority over. What kind of insurance does anybody carry?
You mean a bond?
Bond, yeah.
Maureen must have a bond, right? Janice?
She is bonded, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether Gloria is, but I know Maureen is.
yeah, I don't know.
It's always good that you're
All right.
keeping an eye on these
I don't
kind
know
of
if it's
things.
always good. I really.
I think it is. I guess
Sorry.
you never know what he's
It's
going
one of
to
those
say.
devious flatlander
No, you're
eyes,
right,
you
you're
know?
Yeah,
That's good.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so we now need to go into executive session. Can I have a motion to go into executive
So
session?
moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we must ask the members of the public to leave. This should not be long.